Welcome back to the Hand to Shoulder Solution, giving pain the middle finger. I'm your host, Carl Petitto. I'm an occupational therapist and a board-certified hand therapist specializing in the rehabilitation of orthopedic conditions that affect the fingertips through the shoulder. Today I want to talk about how do we make custom splints. Custom molded, we make a template, we cut it out of flat stock material, then mold it onto the patient. In this situation, I have a pretend patient that had a ligament rupture right here, which is very common. The nickname for this is called Gamekeeper's thumb. The Gamekeeper's thumb occurs when this ligament ruptures. Either somebody's reaching for something real fast, or they fall, or for whatever reason the thumb is cranked back, and this ligament, which keeps the joint stable, so this hinge right here, it keeps this joint stable laterally. So it's obviously only supposed to bend down and up, but if it's bending back like this and it's very loose compared to the other one, and you're having a lot of pain and swelling right here, most likely you have a torn ulnar collateral ligament, UCL. That ulnar collateral ligament, when it's torn, has to be repaired. And what the surgeon does is makes an incision, goes in there and puts in a bone anchor, depending on the severity of the condition. That gets repaired, and then it has to be protected, because if you're going around with nothing on your hand and then you bump it or you reach for something, and you can easily rip out the repair. So what I'm going to demonstrate is fabrication of this kind of a splint. It's called a hand-finger orthosis, a hand-based thumb spica orthosis that positions the thumb in a functional position so that the thumb cannot be pulled this way. It protects the repaired ligament. Remember, the ligaments connect bone to bone. So let's get to it. I want to demonstrate how this is molded onto the patient. So now I'd like to demonstrate fabrication of a hand-finger orthosis, or a hand-based thumb spica that would protect that ligament so that the surgery that repaired that ligament is not going to fail. That has to be protected. Now, we don't want to put the patient in a cast, because there are some exercises that has to be done between now and full recovery. If we just fully immobilize it, it's going to get so stiff that the patient will not be able to bend their thumb. So this allows me to coach the patient through a home program so that things can be very controlled, so we can restore motion while at the same time protecting the healing ligament. Now, I have my hand model here, and you won't be seeing her face, only her hand, because if we were to show more than her hand, she is going to charge triple, and I just can't have that. So let's look at this right here. So it starts out with fabricating a template, and it's important to use something that is very flexible, so I can mold right over the patient. And I always take a look to see where the wrist is and the base of the thumb, so I'll just go along that location. Let's bring it up a little bit like this. And then I'm feeling the big knuckles of the fingers. I'm going around my landmarks, because of course it has to be comfortable and it has to be very effective. And I don't want to immobilize any joints that I don't have to, because why have any unnecessary stiffness? And one of the main things is the last knuckle of the thumb, the last hinge where the thumb bends. I want that to be free for function. Because while she's in the splint and healing from the surgery, the thumb can still move and oppose or pinch to the fingertips of the other fingers that are not involved. So I'm planning ahead here. I have a piece that's going to wrap around that middle bone of the thumb, and the tip of the thumb is going to be free. So there's my template. Now I'm going to cut that out, trace it onto the splinting material, and then warm it up in hot water, cut out the material, warm it up again, and then mold it onto the patient. After I mold it onto the patient, what I do is add nice, comfortable pads and then Velcro straps, and I'll demonstrate that. This goes pretty quickly. Custom splints, I mean, some days make 5 or 6 of these. Long arm splints, also splints that immobilize the elbow. For example, if somebody had trauma, or if they have cubital tunnel syndrome, where they have numbness and tingling on the little finger side of the hand, which we talked about in past episodes on this channel. So I'm getting my template or my pattern. I used to work fabricating parts for aircraft. I was served on aircraft carriers in the US Navy. That was fun. I like fabricating. I used to spend a lot of time working as a welder and a machinist. So I'm going to trace out this pattern so that I have something accurate to mold onto the patient. Then I'll roll some edges, put the pads, the straps. We make some splints that actually stretch joints. They have cables and elastic. A note on the elastic. So for example, if you use a rubber band or something rubber to stretch a joint or to pull a finger, the rubber component never stops pulling. So what's really nice to do is to use what's called static progressive. So it's a stretch that you can progress, and the stretch can be pushed to the point of a pulling sensation and then stop. And that allows the soft tissues, in this case tendons and ligaments, to lengthen without going into what's called the stretch reflex, because the tendons of the soft tissue under the microscope will actually try to protect itself if it's never stops pushing. That's why a nice solid cable is most often the best thing to use. And in future episodes, we will fabricate what's called a dynamic splint. That stretches joints. And that's quite interesting. Patients are always quite surprised at the efficiency of making these splints that are purely 100% custom for the patient, which is very important, because if it's rubbing on a wrong area and causing pain and not adequately protecting the surgery site, bad things will certainly happen. If it's rubbing on an area and causing an additional wound, now you have another wound to worry about. You risk the chance of infection. And you see how pliable this material gets once it's warm. And I like the scrap piece, I like pulling. I pull it right into the scissor. I'm going to do a terminal cut right here. Then I'm going to just bring it around. While I'm rounding out the edges. This is the piece that's going to wrap around the thumb. It's a good recipe. You know, everybody has their own technique, and you come up with your own little time-saving methods, because in another short period of time, I'm going to have another patient waiting in the waiting room. But you know, you got to work right along. If you're making 5 or 6 or 7 of these a day, and let's bring your hand right back over here. And while I'm making the splint, I'm educating the patient how to take care of their wounds. And I usually start with people about 4 days post-operative. I tell them they can start washing normally with soap and water, allow it to dry really well. I test it on myself, make sure it's not too hot. Now this is going to feel warm. It's not hot enough to burn you. As it cools, it hardens. So let's bring this up a little bit. Good. You're going to have your thumb right in line with the index finger. Just away about right there, but in line with the finger. Good. Just turn it like that a little bit. That's good right there. And that's just going to cool right there. That's going to cool and harden. In the clinic, I have a sink right here, so while before it's fully hardened, I can just slide it off and then stick it under cold running water, then that really solidifies it. Okay. So when you take this off, you roll it off like that, and then it rolls back on. So I want to demonstrate what I usually do here is I'll put the tip of that splint in here, heat it up. The hot water is nice because it's heating up both sides at the same time, so it heats up quite quickly. This material, when it's warm, it sticks to itself, so I can roll this edge where the thumb is. The rest of it's still a little warm, so it's a little challenging to control. But once you get used to handling this stuff, it goes quite nicely. So I just roll that edge. So that's nice and smooth and comfortable. And then this edge where the wrist is, I don't want it digging in here. And I do have it cut up high enough on the hand so that it's not going to dig in. But I like to just put a flare. So I flare this area, heat it up. So now I'm just gonna flare this. And that's gonna be nice and smooth and comfortable. All right, so that's the basic design of a splint that is going to protect that healing ligament in there, because remember, the thumb cannot get yanked out this way, otherwise that surgery is going to be ripped right out. So when you put this on, you always lead with your thumb, so it's on your thumb first. Now you roll it around the back of your hand, and there it is. So I'll show you the one that I made on myself. Lead with the thumb, rolls around the back of the hand, and you can see the padding that I put in there. And that allows airflow, especially in the summer. You know, this is plastic type material, and then the padding keeps the plastic off the hand. It makes it all the more comfortable. And then once that's right in place, I have one strap that goes through the thumb web space, and that secures right here on this Velcro. The Velcro is sticky. It comes on a roll. I can cut it to any shape and size that I want it. And then this one just goes around the hand. So what I used to do is put one strap that went around the wrist, and it was a little more complicated. Now I found that just going around the pinky side of the hand, that secures it nicely. And then through the web space, and that feels very solid on me, and I feel well protected. If my thumb gets bumped or something, then I'm not worried about that surgery site. Also, sometimes you might be wondering, well, is that plastic rubbing on the surgery site? So what I'll do is I'll just heat this up a little bit and pull it away just a hair. I'll make a little, also put a little protector on this side that juts out, because if the tip of the thumb is hit, I don't want any stress there at all. So this stop, which will be connected to this, there'll be a little bar there, so the thumb would be supported a little extra, while at the same time it can be used to pick up things and handle things, and most people can still work with this splint on. Well, thank you very much for watching. It's very important that if a ligament is torn, and sometimes it can just heal on its own if it's not too severe, it still needs the splint. Then if it's so severe that it needs surgical repair, of course, it still needs a splint. So every situation is different, every hand is different, and that's why we have to make custom splints. To be a hand therapist that doesn't make custom splints, it's like a dentist who doesn't do fillings. You have to be able to make custom splints. Very, very crucial. Thank you for watching. Check out other videos. Check out my website, carlpetitto.com. Thank you.